Well, thank you for tuning in to the Harvest Time Group Weekly Podcast. I'm Carl Dasher, your host for today, where we are empowering others to prosper. This podcast is sponsored by a beacon of hope, a favorable nonprofit organization with a purpose to educate our communities around the globe with tangible life skills information to equip the souls to become wealthy to advance the kingdom of God. So I hope everyone had an awesome week this week. We have a special call today, and I have a special guest that's with us now. And I'm proud to announce that she is now a bona fide Harvest Time Group of Investors member. We're excited to have her with us, and we want to welcome Dr. Shalisa Lee. I'm going to read her bio first before we have her speak, before we get into discussion. Dr. Shalisa Lee boasts 25 years of esteemed educational and financial literacy proficiency. She holds a doctorate degree in business education alongside PhDs in Christian counseling and humane letters, reflecting her commitment to multifaceted facet knowledge and expertise. Recognized for her outstanding contributions, Dr. Lee was honored with the 2023 Lifetime Achievement Award by President Joe Biden. As the founder of owner of TEA Consulting Group and co-owner of JAG Tax Services Unlimited, Dr. Lee has demonstrated an adaptive in entrepreneurship and strategic leadership, driven by a fervent dedication to societal impact. She integrates kingdom principles into the marketplace, specifically focusing on illuminating financial pathways for low-income communities. Beyond her professional endeavors, Dr. Lee cherishes her role as a devoted mother of two young men, underscoring her holistic approach to life and leadership. Well, what a bio, and good afternoon to you because you're in North Carolina, right? Did I
South
say that
Carolina.
right?
South
South
Carolina.
Carolina. Boy, I get them both mixed up.
That's okay.
South
We're in the
Carolina.
Carolina.
I love it over there on that side of town. It's beautiful. And if it looks anything like Tennessee, I know the lifestyle as far as the environment, what you're dealing with is real green. And I think the trees change colors, or do they change colors during certain
Yeah.
seasons?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's awesome. My wife and I were really looking forward to that. So we're glad to have you on. And I'm impressed by some of the knowledge that you already have in the forex trade and crypto space. I know as long as we've been doing these podcasts and the live calls that we were doing in years past, I always touch on the basis on how important it is to diversify. And as we know, the saying goes, not keep all your eggs in one basket. As it's not going to benefit you at all. So anything you want to start out with sharing to the listening audience about, you know, your knowledge and what you do and what you have done so far up to this point.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I'm so excited to talk about why diversification is so important. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. And the one thing that I think about when I start to approach diversification, I first start when I was small. And growing up in a low income area, everybody looked the same. Everyone was going through the same thing. But as I got the opportunity to go to schools outside of my norm, I learned different things. And that was my first introduction to diversification. Most people only look at diversification when it comes to your money, your finances. But I take a
Right.
full circle, a holistic approach, because you have to surround yourself with people that do not look like you, that do not have the same education that you have, that have a different background to you, from you to expand where you're going. And once you start to expand, that's where you do not have your eggs in one basket because you're going to
Right.
learn from people. Diversification to me means stretching me out so I can learn and benefit from that. I gain this knowledge and then I can apply it and move from it. There are three things that I always think about, Dr. Dasher, when it comes to diversification. The first thing, it helps to minimize the risk. If you're working with anything, or if you have um, any of your finances, if you have it diversified, right?
Hmm.
Everything isn't in one basket. So you can
That's
look at
right.
this makes sense, but this right here isn't making sense, and I can change it. And with that, it can expose you to greater returns. So your diversification first, it just lowers your risk. And secondly, it can improve your returns. And everyone likes what? A good return.
That's exactly
Everybody
right.
want that good return. Now I'm excited because I understand that diversification can bring that. When you're looking at your resources and you're seeing, first of all, because you are not in a bag by yourself, you have a team and your circle. You guys could be doing different investments together. And I'm not just talking about money, I'm talking about real estate. Because at first, all I could think about was just going to the banks. I had to have a CD, a CD, a CD, a CD. The bank offered this CD, and it's on a year. You're just getting a yearly return. But then when I got exposed to a different circle, they were not just talking about being a millionaire. They were talking about billionaire, cajillionaires. My son was talking about all these zeros as we were discussing this last night. And I said, we have to get outside of our circle. So diversification has moved me to a place where I see more zeros in the bank.
There you
And
go.
I could take my money not just in the bank because I was so afraid to do anything else, Dr. Dasher. I'm able to utilize, I learned about trust through diversification because no one was talking about that in my community. I never knew about those things growing up. All
Okay.
we ever talked about is putting a little bit of money in the bank. But as I decided to diversify myself and the people that I surround myself around, it also changed the way my money looked. It also
Okay.
changed the things that I was investing in and the type of things that I was investing in because I never knew that there's a such thing as digital real estate, there's physical real estate, and I'm learning all these things because of diversification. And diversification has pushed me to a place where I see more returns because I'm no longer living in fear. And I'm sure a lot of people thinking, wow, I never thought about diversification like this. That means if you're not looking at diversification in every area of your life, you're limiting yourself. And I
That's
found
right.
once I really start to dig into those things, it will open me up not just for monetary reasons, also to build relationship. And by diversification, I have the third thing is diversification, as I've been stated, it just opens you up to more assets. And we want, it's a show I listen to called Asset Over Liabilities. We want more assets where we can gain from. And so that's what diversity has done for me.
Right.
Every asset, every facet of my life has been impacted because of my decision to diversify, not only my funds. So I want you to look at the funding part of it, and what you do, Dr. Dasher, is so important to us because it pushes us out of our comfort zone. That's another
Telling
thing
you.
diversification will do. It'll push you out of your comfort zone because a lot of people are afraid of the DeFi world of crypto, but diversification has helped me to see, hey, that right there looks pretty good, but I had to take a step. I was so afraid. I was introduced to Bitcoin when it was $400. I didn't even invest in it because I was so afraid. And then I realized my circle was just small because when I went to talk to people that looked like me, that had a similar background to me, they look at everything as a scam. But I missed out.
Hmm.
Now look at where Bitcoin is.
Right.
We
Exactly.
multi-millionaire. But no, I went back to people with a limited belief system, and they couldn't understand why I wanted to diversify my portfolio through Bitcoin. And so I believed them. And once I push myself out, those same people now they're coming back to me and asking, "How are you doing this? How are you getting this? What are you
Absolutely.
doing?" I have been involved in investment groups. I have people that's seeking me for advice, the same ones in the beginning that did. I was going to them because I felt like they knew, but I had to expand my circle. And it's good to have them, but I had to go over to places where people understood it, like you and your knowledge and where you're pushing us. And so now I understand the power of diversification will help you leave that legacy in a dynasty for your children. So you have to do that for your namesake, for their namesake. I know I said a
Right.
lot, and I hope I hit on some of the things that
Oh no, you did.
people can see why diversification is important.
You did. And as you can see, I don't, I'm not trying to distract you here. I'm trying to see if I can fix this screen so we can see, so no one says, "Oh, she looks real small on the screen," or "You guys look too small." I'll just leave it at this here, and then when have focus on you. Now, you said some key things uh, on your comments. Do you agree when you hear a person say, "Man, this one or two thing I'm doing right now is kind of overwhelming. I don't want to do anything else right now. I just want to stick with this one thing because it's just a little bit too much," or "I don't want to talk to people about certain things I'm doing because I don't like to rejection. I don't want to feel like I'm recruiting anybody." Does that fall in the category of hindering yourself to be able to diversify and build wealth when you're just so afraid to talk to other people and build additional income somewhere else? Have you ever had that challenge before?
Now, so just so you know me, I love opportunities.
Okay.
I let me say this, and for anybody that know me, I just feel like it only takes one. But how do you know if that's the one if you don't get out there and find out? No, if someone tells me no, it's just getting me closer to my yes. I feel like you just have to go through the numbers. And it's
Right.
just, you just have to go through the numbers. So if I have something, and I am a living testimony, because I bring kingdom everywhere I go, and I'm sorry, but I bring it
Right.
to the marketplace, and we are supposed to have life more abundantly. We're supposed to live in such a way that we can have common sense, but
Right.
sometimes your common sense would knock you out of a blessing. So if
That's
you
right.
see, if someone is presenting something to you, you might go on a small scale, and then it can open up other doors. But going into one opportunity opened me up to meet other people that had
Okay.
incomes that did not look like mine. So you
Okay.
might, I would tell anybody, you have to take we take a risk every time we get in the car and drive. We take a
Right.
risk every time we sit in a chair to hold us up. So do we stop? If we fall out of a chair, do we not sit in chairs anymore? Think about it. So
That's a good question.
you have to keep going. Maybe you can assess where you're going. If somebody have if you're afraid, say, you know what, I'm going to do this afraid, but I'm going to lean on the person that's inviting me to help me through it.
Right.
And then you can move up. If you are living in a place called fear, you're around the wrong people, because they can help you. You just have to be willing. Now, if you just want to live in fear, just say that, but it doesn't take a lot of questions to say yes. It takes a
Right.
lot of questions, asking a lot of questions when you've already made up in your mind that diversification isn't for me, and I'm not willing to go to the next level or take the risk. We could still talk, but I have to know that when it comes to this, I have to surround myself around positive people, because money and all this, it's a currency, and whatever
Right.
we speak is coming back to us.
That's
So
right.
I make sure that my circles understand that. But most people know, no, it's just another, it's not right now, and I'm going to keep investing. So I don't have the issue. I just have the
Right.
issue that sometimes I do too much.
Oh, do you?
I have to
Okay.
have somebody to tell me, Shalisa, slow down. Let's take it
Mm-hmm.
easy. Go in
Right.
easily,
Right. Right.
easy. And
Right.
then, so that has been me. So, and that is, I put it out there for most of the time for me is going in, we're heavy. And then when something happens, and that's, even though I have all this around, sometimes I've put too much in one basket where I could have had maybe that 50,000, spread it that out to 10, putting 10,000 in five things, or put in 5,000 and 10 things, to kind of spread
Right.
it out evenly. And that's,
Right.
again, when you are by yourself and you become first, and when you make judgments, and if you don't have a circle, you become self-righteous in what you're doing. And so, opposed to going to somebody, you'll just say, okay, this makes sense. But had I gone to my circle and said, you know what, I'm getting ready to invest this 50,000, what do you think? After I did it, a lot of them said, well, you should have just did 10,000 here, 10,000 there. It was something over there that you could have done. So I think also is, for me, is because I don't see a risk as a risk. I just see it as an opportunity. Sometimes I have to slow down and just say, hey, opposed to me putting that amount in it, I'm just going to reduce that amount and find something else to balance that my portfolio out with.
And that's the reason why I have you guys doing that exercise in the cryptology class, that very humbling one, the checkbook experiment. It's like, you wait, isn't that humbling though? It's like you're finding out how much money you spent on things you really could have done without, and you really could have used that money to leverage it to put in other places to build more capital. Because I hear a lot of times people say, well, I can't afford that, or I got to work extra hours on the job to make some more income to make ends meet. Well, I think God has already made provision to be able to supply us with everything we have need of. We're just not delegating that money in the right places yet. And so that exercise kind of reveals exactly how much income you really do have and how you could have put that money to work even more for you into more diversified instruments. You said something in the beginning about the definition of diversification, and it reduces risk due to your investments being spread across multiple areas. If one market fails, success in others will reduce the impact of failure, help you gain access to larger market potential due to lower competition in foreign markets, increase your business overall market share. That's what the diversification will do for you. But if you have a narrow mind and you're not willing to think outside the box because you've been at Bank of America for 15 years and they tell you, hi, Mr. Jones, hi, Mrs. Jones, they love you. Of course, they love you because you keeping all your money for them to profit off of, and they give you peanuts in return. Of course, they're going to treat you
Yes,
real nice. And then you trust that. You trust that, but you're not benefiting from that
yes.
whatsoever. Not at all. It says diversifying can put you in a better position to withstand dips in performance and therefore stay the course as you work towards reaching your financial goals. That way, if your potential is skewed heavily to one asset and they happen to perform poorly, you're not forced to sell low and accept major losses. Here's an example of a big guru, Walt Disney Company. Walt Disney successfully diversified from its core animation business to theme park. I don't know if you watched the story of Disney on Netflix. I've watched that. Did you ever watch that?
No.
Now you need to watch that because they started with character cartoon animators in a studio room and they came up with Mickey Mouse. And
Mm,
then it got bigger, and then they went in and started doing the filming with Mickey Mouse. Okay, but what they did, they diversified its core to animation building, to theme parks, cruise lines, resorts, TV broadcasting, live entertainment, and more. And look at them now. They're one of the top Fortune 500 companies on the planet right now. So that's what diversification is going to get you. You got to be willing to think outside the box, though, instead of being so narrow minded. I only want to do this over here. I only want to do that over there. And you close minded to everything else that could be a blessing. And that was the big mistake that I made when I first found out about Bitcoin when it was only $2.
mm,
$2. But I finally woke up from my sleep
that's
and
right.
purchased mine at $240 when it was at 240. And look at it now, like you said, it's over 50,000 right now. So thank God for that. I'm smiling so hard right now. You can see all my teeth when I smile. Okay. So it's a it's a beautiful thing to really think outside the box because you broaden your potential. But diversifying is so important to consider. So, within our organization, we have multiple areas of things where we're generating income, and we're always looking for more things to generate. Because if you have a slow or a slow week in trading, because I understand you're in trading, if
Right.
you get a slow week or you took a loss, you got something else over here that's working for you that's compensating for that. And that's the important part about diversifying. Can you share just a little bit, not too much confidential, about your experience and how you're doing your trading right now, so everybody can understand that how it's benefiting you?
I will say this. It has been such a great journey investing in myself and learning.
Okay.
And through learning the trade, and this has been a long time coming, I've been introduced to other people, master traders, and I'm learning. So I have right now, this just to give you where I am. I have two prop firm accounts where I've won the challenge. I went through the challenge and $200,000 on two accounts, and I trade those accounts every day.
Wow.
And
Wow.
and so that's a total of $400,000. So I'm not the master trader yet, but I am very confident in my skills because I study to show myself approved, not to the world, but to me in this skill set. I had to take a sabbatical for 6 months and only do in demo because I got greedy one time and I lost 5,000 and tried to recover that 5,000 and end up losing 10,000. And it showed me that in any of this, Dr. Dasher, you have to be disciplined and know your behavior. As
Right.
a certified counselor, I always say your behavior can make a break, it will make or break you. And you
Okay.
have to know how you are in all circumstances. So right now, I have an extra just from me trading. I have somebody else trading money for me as well. I have big accounts. But the things that I'm trading right now, I'm bringing in about an extra $5,000 a month. I
Wow.
make my money and I get out. And that is assigned to something. So everything that I have that I receive money from, I assign my money. My money has an assignment because if you do not give your money an assignment, it will assign itself to something. So everything, I take time to look at my portfolio, my diversification of my portfolio, and I assign everything where it's going. If I'm going to leave that in there, that's just, a 401k working for me as a 401k. Is this going to be for a monthly bill? Even my son, I have a 15-year-old, he trades. I have my 21, well, he's getting ready to be 21. Luther trades. He's a junior at Clemson University at
Okay.
Clemson, South Carolina. So all of us as a family, we do this together. And whatever they trade Nike, so they have stocks in Nike. So, and we look at
Okay.
that. Sometimes, many times, the shoes that they buy, they may be $400 or whatever the price may be. They get it from trading. They follow the stock
Wow.
market. They invest in
Okay.
Nike. They're investors, and we also trade. We do. It's a phenomenal thing, but it's about disciplining yourself. And I wanted to say this too, for anybody that's on this journey, make sure you have clear goals for your investment and you're taking us through that, and understand your risk tolerance, because trading isn't for everyone. If you don't, and you have to have time. I have to be in my room set up in a certain way. I do not do it on my phone. I have everything set up right so I can do it because I know the type of person I am. Trading has taught me about my behavior as well. And somebody else may be able to do it on the phone in the grocery store, they hear me, but that isn't for me. So you have to learn the type of person that you are, know your behavior when you're going into different investments, know your goals, your risk tolerance, and you will be successful. You will be successful. You do not have to trade to make money. You can find somebody that can trade for you, period.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Well, look, there is a big event that's getting ready to take place that's coming up, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, the global exchange. And I'm hearing a lot of people have some of the foreign currency ready to exchange this currency, but some of them are scaring me, some of these people, because when they exchange it, they're going to have a lot of money they never had before. And a lot of them will possibly purchase things that have no tangible value
Right,
whatsoever.
right.
No tangible value whatsoever. Please share with the listeners how important it is to take a portion, a percentage of that money and put it to work where that well never runs dry, because it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing right now. How you got yourself to develop and to generate $5,000 extra on a monthly basis. Can you imagine if a person had $1 million in an account, their potential
Yeah.
of how much they
Oh,
would earn?
yeah.
Oh my goodness, they wouldn't have to work anymore. They probably wouldn't have to do anything at all.
That's it. That's it. The main thing I did with that is I knew what I needed. Because again, if you give me something, sometimes I go overboard, but I had to recover. And I knew this right here, being disciplined on this end, I said, this amount is for this right here. And in 6 months, I'll be finished with what I need to do. And that money, that $5,000 is going to go into my portfolio. Right now, it's
Wow.
assigned a bill to do
Okay.
something. But
Correct.
as soon as I get finished, it will go into my portfolio. I already know where it's going because I'm not waiting until that day comes. I plan for it. So, because again, if you don't give your money an assignment, your money will go out the door. It'll go to something else. You'll be at the store. I like shoes, purses, belts, and accessories. It may be on a new bag, a new pair of shoes. So I am very disciplined when it comes to that. Now I do reward myself. I do
Right.
reward. I would tell anybody
And
you
that's okay to do that. Absolutely.
but I'm not going to walk around here as if I'm living in lack when I know that abundance is so it's right now. So I would tell anybody as you're going through this, always have something to do for yourself. Diversify yourself. If you like going to eat at Ruth Chris, take it up a notch. Take it up a notch.
Right.
Do something different. Take a cruise. Take a vacation as you're making this because life is short. Life is
Right.
short. So you want to enjoy every single moment of it, and you can do it
Absolutely.
through diversification.
Absolutely. You made another key point. Give your money an assignment. Give your
Always.
money. I've never heard that before. That's so never heard that. Give your money an assignment. Because if you don't, you'll get a bunch of cash, spend it, and then you'll say to yourself, I don't know what happened to it or where it went because you didn't have a plan. You didn't have a game plan. That's why I tell people all the time it's so important to have a goal board and set some goals and have a potential goal date when you want to accomplish that goal
Yeah.
and then and go to work and get it done. Here's a statement here on some big strategic mistakes that people make when they are trying to diversify, or even companies. These are some weird diversifications that were made by major companies, and they made a mistake because you can diversify and do good, but then again you can try to diversify and make some major mistakes in that diversification process. Well, here's one big, the pen company. Big, they launched disposable and cheap perfume. What does
Mm,
perfume have to do with pens?
nothing.
See, because the mind of the consumer is, hey, pen company don't have anything to do with perfume, so that's probably some cheap, inexpensive perfume. I'm not probably not going to buy that. That doesn't make any sense. Well, they didn't do well. They invest a lot of money diversifying into a totally different industry, and that game plan went down the toilet. Harley Davidson developed perfume. Why all these companies are trying to develop perfume? Okay, Cosmopolitan launched a yogurt. You believe that? They
Mm,
launched a yogurt. Two different totally industries. Colgate invents world's worst beef lasagna. Colgate, the toothpaste company. Coors Beer, confusing bottled water. Okay, so from alcohol to regular water, and I guess have the Coors logo on the water. It's like, okay, are you going to take the risk and try to drink that? Probably not. Probably not. Okay. HMV, not sure who that is. They lost 35 million in euro. A Harley Davidson cake decorating kit, motorcycle company with a cake decorating kit. That just doesn't match too well. And then last, Bic, again, the pen company invents disposable underwear. It doesn't make sense to me. So if you're going to diversify, even through your business, if you're going to diversify your business, like mine, and our business is a perfect example. We started as a credit repair company.
mm,
We started as a credit repair, and we had contracts with mortgage and real estate companies, and we had relationship with escrow companies because we were getting the results,
right.
and business was real good back then because back in no, this was in 1999 and 2000. Man, in California you can get a 4 bedroom house for about 114 120,000. Well, those days are long gone now. That's not happening.
Not
but
happening.
but the credit repair business was good. So but we're helping, we were negotiating debts. That's still in finance. And then we have our clients complete a survey at the end of the year. If there's something they have a concern about or a need that we have not met yet that they may want us to consider and make a part of our portfolio. And they said, we want something to protect our money so we can stop these creditors and attorneys from going after us. And that's where the asset protection came in at.
Wow.
That's how we started with asset protection. So, see, that is a diversification within an industry where we're still helping the client that has a need based on what we started them out with. Okay. And then we did incorporations, and then some wanted to incorporate to start a business. Then we got into the business funding industry where we'll take the information from your business corporation and build your Dun and Bradstreet and your paydex score to guarantee funding for your business. So all of that has prospered through our business through the years, and that's why after being in this business for 28, 29 years, that's why we're still in business, because we stayed in our lane. We didn't try to get into cosmetics. We didn't try to get into underwear, or we didn't try to make a new meal. Harvest Time Group LLC new lasagna. Okay, that's not going to work. So very, very important. Before diversifying, study the art of due diligence. Ooh. Now, we still need to diversify, but we want to make sure we know how to do our homework before we get involved with something that we don't clearly understand. So I tell people to put together a checklist. You want to check the rating of the program, if they have a rating. You want to see if they have a complaint ratio. You want to do the due diligence if they have a complaint ratio. You want to listen to testimonials. You want to find out if there are any testimonials or references. You want to witness proof by others. You know and trust. You know and trust. Because those are the ones you want to be in business with to begin with, right? I know the lady you use for your trading, you trust her, and you're
Yes.
having success through that.
Yes.
Okay. Here's
Years.
the number one. Here's the number one thing we should do. In Matthew 6:33, it says what? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things. Diversification is included in that too, shall be added unto us. Okay. Seek the Lord for wise counsel. He'll bring things into the light that's in the dark right now. If there's anything into the dark, you want to reach for their method to maintain liquidity. Do they have a method to maintain liquidity to keep the business going where they don't have to shut down later and surprise you? Does it have an extended track record? Does it have a long-term track record? Or did they just start business 2 weeks ago and they want you to trust them, but you have no knowledge who they are? If operated and ran by someone you don't know, be cautious. You want to do all this due diligence first before you decide to diversify with this company. If no training is offered to understand the product or services better, consider it a red flag. If they don't provide no content, because education is key. I always say the smartest man in the world is the man with the information who uses that information. Because I tell one of my adopted sisters in Los Angeles, she's like a professional student. She's been in school all her life, but has nothing to show for it. She just got a piece of paper of that she completed a course study. That's it. So she can have a master's degree, she can have two PhDs, but if she's not doing anything with it, it means nothing, nothing at all. So those are some of the things I think that can help people make a decision. First, seek the Lord with counsel, and then go through that checklist. And if everything passes on your checklist, now you can feel at peace. Man, I think I need to consider to diversifying this because they passed my entire checklist. Because there's so much junk out there today. It is, and people will talk a good game. You and I both know they'll talk a good game about
Game. Great game.
do this with me, and this is what you'll have. You know what I mean? But you have to be able to show and prove some authentic information to make me feel at peace, because I don't want to be jittery if I give you $100,000 and I don't know if I'm going to take a loss or if I'm going to get a gain from it. I want to feel confident that my hard-earned $100,000 is going to be profitable for me, because I'm not just doing this for me. I'm doing this for my children's children. I know you doing it for your two boys and their children.
That's it. That's it. I want to tell you something that you said, and I'm glad we're going here. I have a Bible verse. I put it in my own words, but everything that I do, because I have a passion and a love for credit also. So I
Okay.
have been preparing taxes since I was a freshman in high school. Long
Okay.
story, I was in an accounting class. And from that, I still have two of my clients from high school. And God has opened up doors for me from learning that and to do other things. Credit was one. And this is what I started saying 5 years ago. God, everybody's always talking about, will always talk about multiple streams. I need to do this and do that. But
Right.
God gave me this. He said, dip from a river that never runs dry.
Right.
Everything that you need is in your hand. So once you start dipping the river, everything flows into a you think about it. Look at the
Right.
bank of a river and what comes into it. But from your credit, it opened your credit repair business. You dipped from that and came up. Debt,
Right.
asset protection, right? You dipped
Right.
again and something else came up. You dipped
Right.
again, but it all started with the first. If
Right.
we are good stewards of what
Yes.
we have, you will
Right.
always dip from that river that God is giving you, and it will never run dry for you. So you
Right.
don't have to run to do this and do that. It will meet your needs because it's right there within your hands. You just got to dip, and sometimes that means putting yourself in a position to meet the right people. So that's what I do every single day. I just dip from a river that never runs dry. I dip.
Amen.
And I stand on that because if this Jesus stood up and I had to get this verse, if anyone thirsts, let him come to me and drink.
And
If you're
drink.
thirsting
Right.
for something, and if you're
Yes.
dipping, it's there, and you'll never be thirsty because you'll have something to dip from.
That's
Think about
right.
it.
That's
So
right.
everything what you're
My
giving us,
goodness.
Dr. Dasher, it's opening us up. So not only naturally, but spiritually, because we are supposed to multiply. We don't
Yes.
supposed to be like the one with the talent. He buried it. We're supposed to be like the 10 and go out and make that multiply. While we are sleeping, our money is supposed to be working for us. The
That's
banks
right.
do.
That's
They
right.
have multiple things. Attorneys know how to protect their income, know how to protect their assets.
That's right. They
Doctors
sure
do
do.
it. Millionaires do it. Billionaires,
Come on now.
you don't see everything that they have. They're living in this world, but they're not of this world. We have
Right.
to take the biblical terms and make them apply to today's time. And it's not churchy, it just works.
Man,
If
my
someone
goodness.
take the
Stay
education
on
that
that.
you've given us and we
Yes.
empower me, take it to learn for knowledge and wisdom, and we act on it,
Right.
we will be millionaires,
Oh,
multi-millionaires.
come on
I don't
now.
want to be a millionaire because if you take a penny from me, I'm no longer a millionaire. I want multi. I want
That's
after
it.
I paid everything and
That's
done
right.
everything, I want millions, multi.
Yes. That's
And
right.
we can do. I'm sorry, I get so excited.
That's all right. But we
I
already
get
said
excited.
$1 million is not a lot of money anymore.
No,
It's
no,
not. It
no.
can go through your fingers so quick. What
I got
happens
three
is, if
things
you
I can
never
buy, and
had
it's
a
gone.
million
It's gone.
before, yeah, if you never had a million before, the natural man would just squander it because they never handled money like that before. But man, you hit some key. Ooh, I need to pass around the offering plate right now, boy. You hit some key areas right there. I'm excited and I'm encouraged, and I hope that the words that were shared today minister to the heart and the soul and the mind of people that are listening to this recording. And it's the subject is for a reason and it's for a purpose. We don't want in the word talks about us having the mind of Christ. Christ didn't pay the price for us to struggle.
Say
He
that.
did it that we live the abundant life. So how can you guaranteed to live the abundant life, if you're turning down everything that is authentic
Right.
because you feel lazy? You can't do it.
That's
You're
it.
not you can't advance the kingdom. Now there's other ways to advance the kingdom through your support and and getting involved and volunteer. But we are in an age right now to where, uh, you know, there everything, even to run a ministry costs money.
Everything.
Everything costs money to advance it. If you want to travel overseas to minister to people in villages, which is what we're going to be getting into when the TBC2 launches, because they set aside 150 million, coins that
Right.
they will exchange for us to do outreach, and they're going to use the members in Harvest Time Group to do that outreach, and we're going to start with villages in the continent of Africa. I'm looking forward to that.
And I'm looking forward to that.
Man, and then, he even said, well, I said, look, there's people in our own backyard that need just as much help,
Right.
because our government can't help us because they helping other countries, which is causing the United States to get more in a deficit,
And who
which
want
is good.
honestly, I don't want the government that have to help me and then come
No,
tell me how I have to live my life.
because the more they help, the more control they will try to take
Yeah,
over.
that's it. We don't
The
need
more
that.
control. That's why we need to diversify to become our own banking system, to be self sufficient and proficient. And getting education in this industry that you and I are in is continued, just like the learning the word of God. It never ceases, it never
Never.
ends. There's
Right.
always something to learn in this industry. You just got to, if you want to be used, you got to be willing to hear words of wisdom and knowledge from people who are doing better than you are. That's why I have a
Right.
mentor that's doing better than me. Okay, because he's already a millionaire. He's
Right.
already a multimillionaire. So
That's
now,
it.
see, he can talk to me every day if he wants to, which he
Every day.
does. He calls me every day, and I listen. I'm like E.F. Hutton. I'm quiet and I'm listening and I'm taking notes.
That's it.
So because I want to grow, I want to build, and I want to set myself to be an influential person to affect our community, because the enemy hates relationships and he hates people to prosper. He
Yeah.
does not
Wow.
want anybody to prosper at all, but we got to be smarter than our perpetrator.
Yeah, that's it. And God didn't put us on earth to do it alone. He never did. So
No,
when
he
I find
didn't.
people that say I'm just a loner, I don't like hanging around people. I'm like, well, you're not in the word. You are not in the
Right.
word. God had me into wisdom and knowledge. I was in Proverbs for almost 3 years. Every time I thought I was finished, I had to go back to the beginning.
And you
Every time
learn
I
something
thought I was
else.
finished, I had
And
to
that's
go back to
something.
the beginning. Every time I thought
Wow.
I was finished, I had to go back to the beginning. So
Right.
by doing that, when I'm sitting in rooms, Dr. Dasher, I don't need to feel like I have to be the smartest person in the room. I'm like
Right.
the smartest person in the room understand that they need to be quiet to learn and they
Right.
surround themselves and not intimidated, not feeling egos or anything going on, but you will learn if you're quiet. The server, if you have a servant's attitude, a servant's mentality where you're training, they know everything.
Mm,
They know everything because people talk freely. They're quiet
right.
and they're listening
Right.
and they confidential about the information. So
Okay.
again,
Yes.
I was there. I understand it, but again, I am excited to be here, and I know that we just
Well, we good to have, this
I
was a
sing.
good discussion. Everyone listening to this recording, Dr. Shalisa Lee, I appreciate you so much for raising your hand so quickly to join me as the co-host. We do this every week, ladies and gentlemen, folks, members, and family. And so, on behalf of Harvest Time Group LLC, Harvest Time Group of Investors, our advisory board of directors, we want to wish you a splendid and excellent and prosperous weekend. And Dr. Lee, I just declare that the increase is upon you and you're contagious, that you're like a money magnet, that everything that you desire and confess in your heart is coming to pass on your behalf, that you are the head and not the tail, that you are above and not beneath. You are royalty, a special people of extreme favor. You lack for nothing. Man's approval is not uh, uh, your answer, the answer for you. You seek only God's direction. You're conquering anything that gets in your way. You're a person of integrity chosen by God. You're a righteous member of the kingdom. His presence is with you wherever you go. You are not a mistake. And
Mm.
people are always attracted to you because they want to know what you've done for what he has done for you. His
Wow.
light shines upon your face, and you stop rejecting good things because you have decided to accept the genuine. So we just thank you, everyone, for joining this call, and blessings to you. Love you guys, and we'll see you next time. We have a lot of events. Everyone, continue to keep checking the private blog. Check the Signal chat daily. We got some more updates that are coming up on the exchange and on TBC2 and the SBC founders community. So blessings. Love you guys. You have a great weekend. Dr. Lee, you have a splendid one as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me again.
All right.